This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Forget what they want. What do we want? This is Wretched Radio. A storm a brewing. Count on it. The forecast is clear, and this is more reliable than Doppler. There's a storm that's going to come to your church over the issue of black and white. This is not about racism in general. It is specifically about black and white, which, by the way, is a fatal flaw of the social justice movement. Why no talk about Asian and Hispanic people? It's all black and white, and it's coming to your church, and so too will the issue of complementarianism, that there should be more women in leadership. What does that mean? Don't know, but that's the battle cry from the social justice movement. They are not making clear what their agenda is, what they're desiring, although I think we can surmise what the impetus is behind it. Nevertheless, they won't clarify what they want. Got me to thinking, neither have we. What do we want? What do we want? Well, I think we want a lot of things. Let's start with, in no particular order, unity as we discuss this. Can you imagine if racism and the issue of roles of women divides the conservative evangelical movement? Can you imagine brothers and sisters getting mad over this issue? And it's going to happen. I hate it, but it's going to happen with all the black and white, your black church, white evangelicals, black leaders, white leaders. It's coming. And the reason that it's going to cause division is because the movement, which is motivating a perfectly fine and godly sentiment that we abhor racism and sexism, is bad. The movement is bad. And it got me to thinking that is why we need to be critiquing the movement and not the people, because while I think that there are some in the social justice movement who are indeed fully aware of what their intentions are, what their desires are, and it smells an awful lot like politics, I think most people are just going, of course we don't want racism. Of course we don't want sexism. Who does it? I mean, come on. What evangelical? No. I want white people to hate black people and vice versa. I want women stomped on. It's ridiculous. It's what's motivating it, what's driving it, and where it's leading. Because this is not really about the issue of racism and sexism. It's about division. Because if we can divide the evangelical church, then what do? You divide the evangelical voting bloc. I have zero interest in politics, but it sure does seem that is what is behind this movement.
If God's way upsets our political alliances, let's crucify our political alliances.
Well, that would be swell if you were speaking to a group of progressive liberals, but that was at the MLK 50 conference with presumably evangelical, conservative, Bible-believing evangelical Christians of the Gospel Coalition and the Southern Baptist Convention. What does he ask? That's Russell Moore. What is he asking for there? Seems to me, if race supersedes any other social issue, including abortion, then it is okay for you to vote Democrat. This is simply what this smells like to me. Now, do I believe that a guy like David Platt, J.D. Greer, or Matt Chandler are sitting in a smoke-filled room with a glass of whiskey in it? You can hardly see each other through the cigar smoke going, "Mwahaha, here's how we get Hillary elected." No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I was watching a sermon of David Platt, weeping that 2 billion people have never heard the name of Jesus Christ. Is this guy trying to divide the church? No. Do I think that of J.D. Greer, his church sends out oodles of missionaries? No, I don't. No. You could prove me wrong at some point. I could be wrong, but I believe the Christian posture is we hope all things, trust all things, believe all things, we want good. I just don't think that these guys, Matt Chandler, I think he thinks he's trying to do a good thing, but the movement that he's a part of is bad. And that's why we want to criticize the movement. I saw Vodi Balcom. He was on a panel discussion with Matt Chandler, Tabidi Onyebuile, and Crawford Loritz, I believe, Brian Loritz. And he was saying, look, I'm not calling Matt Chandler a Marxist, but I'm just saying his ideas are neo-Marxist. That's exactly what that is exactly the right posture. These people, they're not Marxists. They're not trying to create a socialist country. Not the overwhelming vast majority, like I'm going to say 99%. They just think, yes, let's get rid of racism and sexism. And because of that, they're a part of a movement that I believe has nefarious intentions to divide the body, separate for the purpose of nothing more than the next presidential election.
If God's way upsets our political alliances, let's crucify our political alliances.
So if social justice is the preeminent issue, don't worry about voting conservative. You can vote for a liberal guy who's got better social policies for oppressed communities. Now, who in that movement is promoting that specifically at this moment? Don't know enough yet. Getting warm, but not enough yet. My point, and my only point, is that I think the vast majority of people in the social justice movement are not raging heretics who desire disunity, separation of the body, animosity between black and white, so that Bernie Sanders can become the president. I just don't believe that. And so I want to critique this movement carefully without critiquing the people, because we want unity. Ephesians chapter 4. If you recall, we were in Ephesians chapter 2. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of the calling with which you were called, with all lowliness, gentleness, patience, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is, here it comes again, one body and one Spirit, just as you were called into one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God, the Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. What do we want? We want unity. So my encouragement is, let's not attack people. This is heating up on the internet, the Twitterosphere. No name calling, no slanderous accusations. We can expose bad ideas without attacking our brothers and sisters in the Lord. Can't we? What else do we want? Again, in no particular order. How's about we actually want to help people who are hurting? I would ask this question of the social justice movement. How is talking, repenting, going to help a community that I don't think anybody argues is struggling? I don't think it is. Furthermore, if you go back and you study the social policies of the last 40 years, the Great Society, horrible failure. Horrible. Can we not look at that and say we've got enough empirical data and that there needs to be a better approach? So what do we want? How's about we don't want black people to be pulled over because an officer of whatever color thinks, that person's up to no good. We don't want that. That's awful. That's awful. If you had kids and you had to explain to them, get ready, you're going to be pulled over based on your skin color. Look, it does happen. Now, is it racist? Or do the officers simply have the thinking that a particular community is getting incarcerated at higher rates, more prone toward criminality than others? Now, this is unpleasant, but those are the facts and the statistics. And I do not believe it is because black people are less than white or certainly less capable, which, by the way, I have to tell you, is another fatal flaw in this movement. I don't think black people need white people to help them to do well. I just don't think they do. I think they're fully capable by themselves to do it, and they don't need a white guy riding in to rescue them. I think that whole concept, by its very essence, is racist itself. But how's about we start encouraging things for this community and speaking with one voice to say we got to clean up the church in these communities. Got to clean it up. Creflo, Dollar, the whole gang. Your days are numbered. We're putting you out of business. Wouldn't that be something that would be helpful? How's about the encouragement of having babies inside of marriage, which is an undeniable statistical marker for success? Educate. All of these are godly ideas. You get married, you have babies inside of marriage. One man, one woman. Education so you can think like God. Those things will simply help. That's what we want. We want people to get saved, and we do want people help. We don't want them indiscriminately pulled over, but we need to clean up a bit of a mess right now. And this does not mean everybody, but it means a lot. That's what we want, isn't it? So what does that mean? We need to stop talking about this in sociological terms and start talking about this in theological terms. What helps a people group prosper? That's what we want. Unity, exposing bad ideas, but not people. We want to actually help folks with something that's biblical. This is Wretched Radio. Don't forget, if you would like to hear the entire daily broadcast, simply visit wretched.org, go to iTunes, figure out your favorite Android listening platform, and you can listen to the entire program every single day, downloaded to your listening device for free. Well, thanks to our monthly supporters called the Gospel Partners. If you'd like to partner with us, we'd be very, very grateful. Simply visit wretched.org.